How we doing? We're in week 2, and this is a day 2 lecture of Culinary 121 menus and facilities. Today we are going to go over some PowerPoints. We're going to go over the PowerPoints, and Chapter 5 PowerPoints we'll go over because it's pretty important that you'll be able to get into the standardized recipe format, recipe costing, forecasting, ingredient pricing, what you're going to need to do for your project, the upcoming project, right? So the last part of the project that was due this week, you guys did a pretty good job on it. It's looking good. There is a link. I don't know if you guys found that yet, but there's a link for demographics, and let's see where we can find that. All you have to do is Google on your, like I told you before, Google zip code, put that in there, and then you get your demographics. It's a lot of the questions that you guys had for me. But that's what we're working on, right? That first part. You guys have some really cool concepts, really good concepts there. Kind of partial to that Irish pub. Irish pub's pretty nice, and it's in Evans where I live, so even perfect. But we're gonna get into these PowerPoints, and we'll start with Chapter 5 and about the menu, right? We talked about menus already, but it's really important how you go about doing this. And the importance of the menu is about value, right? What's the value? What value do you get out of it to bring in the money? And what value is it for the guests that they're spending the money to come in? What's gonna wow them? You know, anybody can do a burger, anybody can do a chicken wing. But you guys got some great ideas for these chicken wings, right? Chicken wings are the boneless tenders, you know? That's a great idea, that's marinated. You also have you know, the burgers that are best burgers in town. What are you using? When I used at Pinnacle Club, I used all my scraps from my prime beef tenderloin and prime beef ribeyes, and I ground that together, and then we got a prime burger, right? So what's that gonna do? You gotta get that relationship between the selling price and the quality. People aren't afraid to spend money if the quality is there. Just remember that. If the quality is there, they will pay for a steak that's 70 bucks. Right? Wagyu beef coming from Japan, right? So remember menu planning priorities. When you're planning that menu, what do you think the guests are gonna look at? What do you think the guests are gonna want? Is it something different in your area? The operating limitations, are you able to do that? Do you have the skill set? A friend of mine in Virginia opened up a restaurant, and it was an upscale restaurant in Virginia, but it was in rural Virginia where all the farmers were at. And he did not have any cooks that could definitely do that menu. He didn't do that. So he had to go, and he came back to the Cordon Bleu in Orlando, and he hired graduates from there and brought them up to Virginia. And actually he bought the apartments above the restaurant, and he let them stay there. So they had free room and board, and if they worked for him. Right, but he had no skilled labor in that area of Virginia, so he had to bring everybody in because the menu was too intense, right? So he had nobody to execute it. You got to think about that. Are you able to execute that menu? And then the financial goals. How much money are you looking to make? Do you want to be a millionaire in a week, or you want to take your time and just have a nice, comfortable living, pay all your bills, pay all your staff, and then have some money in the bank, you know? So that's your financial goals, right? So strategies, consider the menu categories, you know, appetizers, soups, salads, sandwiches, entrees, fish course, or, you know, fish, chicken, beef, vegetarian, vegan, heart healthy, you know, all these different sections in your menus, very important. And I would go on Google again, and look at different menu styles, all right? But you need to come up with what you're going to do, because this menu is going to dictate what equipment you're going to bring into your kitchen, right? What equipment are you going to bring into your kitchen? Do you need all this equipment because you have a limited menu, or do you need more equipment because you have such a vast menu? All right, so starting with your menu will dictate lots of things going forward in your restaurant, okay? So standard recipes. So for each menu item, you're gonna have to have a recipe for that. And you have to standardize recipe. Anybody that was in the military will know there's always a procedure, always a step for something. But as a cook, when I was in the military, we had recipe cards. And those recipe cards were for 100 portions. So every single recipe that we had, and there was hundreds of them, were meant for 100 portions. If you're lucky, you didn't have to change anything because it was just, you had 100 people that you had to feed. But if you had 50 people, you had to cut it in half. When I was on the aircraft carrier, we had over 5,000 enlisted that we had to feed. So we had to times that way up there for it. So in your restaurants, you'll have to have a standard recipe for 10 portions, for 5 portions, for 1 portion, and have that available for your cooks, right? Because that'll keep everything consistent. And that's the key. You have to make everything consistent. Myself as a chef, right? I come up with a plate and I show you what the plate is, and then, all right, I'm done. Well, if I don't give you a recipe card, if I don't talk you through the process and let you write everything down, then it's not going to be very consistent, is it? So that's a big thing. Standardized recipes. All right, so with that, you have to get your product. You're gonna have to get that preparation method. How are you gonna prepare that? Is it gonna be, you have to, butcher it, you have to fabricate it, a whole chicken, breaking it down, or do you have a beef tenderloin that you have to trim, right? Get all the silver skin off of that. Do you have fish you have to break down, fresh halibut? There's huge halibuts that are out there. I had 70-pound halibut, and it was just a huge fish, and we got like 50-some portions out of that. So, and then you got to think about your pricing on this, right? So your product, preparation method, and price for your menu. All right, so designing the actual menu needs to have the information for the guest. And I've given you a few menus from Eggers, and the ones I made up at the Pinnacle Club. And the ones at the Pinnacle Club, I 100% put every ingredient on that, so the guest would know what was included in that menu item. All right, so if it was one of the salads, the Cobb salad, say a Cobb salad, it actually listed the lettuce, then it says we have avocado, we have bacon, we have blue cheese, what else do we have on that? Hard-boiled egg, diced tomatoes. So if the guests are going, well, I don't want any blue cheese, can you put something else on there? They already know what's on there. All right, so a properly designed menu must provide the guests with the information and designed to sell. And when we talk about basic menu information, you're talking about like an a la carte menu, right? We're talking about a la carte, top of the hope, cycle menus, du jour menus, right? We already discussed all that. So it's up to you how you want to work this in your restaurant. Designing menus to sell. When you're looking at different menus, and again, I would advise you to go on Google and look at the physical menu because they have different designs. I remember going to IHOP or Denny's or Perkins or any of those high volume breakfast places. You open up their menu, it's all pictures, right? It's all pictures in there. So you look at the picture, you're like, oh, I like that. It's going to be really good. So the meal comes out, and boom, it looks like the same thing most of the time. All right. So that's one way of doing it, but it's expensive, right? To have those pictures on that menu. So maybe you use a box. So you box it around the chef's special. There's a box around it, or a different shading, or different font, or a different size of the typeface. All these things that you can put on that menu of yours. Okay, so that'll catch the eye to the guest. Their eye will go right to that something different first. Yeah? So going into sanitation on this, on the PowerPoint, we all know that, 41 to 135, I usually go to 140. So temperature danger zone, so be careful. Sanitation is going, start from purchasing. You purchase it, comes in the back door, you receive it. Then you have to store it. Then you have to do the production. Then what do you do after production? All that trim. I mean, if you're fabricating a whole bunch of whole chicken, what do you do with the carcasses? What do you do with the chicken fat? The skin, maybe you're taking all the skin off everything. Are you throwing that skin out? Or are you saving it? You could save it for chicharrones, right? You can save it for chicharrones. You could do other things with it too. Render it down and get some chicken fat going. You don't have to throw anything out. And of course with the carcass, you can always make the stocks. And then you have the cleanup. Cleanup is wiping down and then sanitizing. Right? So the HACCP, the HACCP, hazard analysis critical control points. This is going to be coming in very, very strong, right? This is going to be happening since this virus has happened. You might want to jump on this HACCP program. So assess the hazards, identify the critical control points. You know what a critical control point is? It's when it comes to the door, when you ice it down, when you take it out, when you prep it. They're the critical control points where you got to control the temperature, all right? You got to monitor everything. If something goes wrong, you have to implement corrective action, step-by-step record keeping on it, and verify the HACCP system success. Now, everybody likes sous vide, right? Everybody likes the sous vide. You braise, you put it in, cryovac bag, then you cryovac it, then you put it in the water. It cooks really slow, but there's critical control points right there of keeping it in or out of the danger zone. That's the big thing. Well, health inspectors, when they see sous vide on your menu, they were going to come to you and say, where's your HACCP plan? So you better, if you're going to say sous vide on your menu, you better make sure you have HACCP plan ready to go, because the health inspector will come back and ask for that. So very important on that. So standardized recipes, how do you do that? With that, developing the standardized recipe, item preparation is huge, all right? Writing the draft, review and revise the recipe draft. You're the chef. You're gonna write it down. You're gonna make this great, great, great menu item. Then you're gonna give it to your sous chefs or your cook, your line cooks and chef de parties, and you're gonna tell them to execute it. They're gonna execute it, how it's going to go out to the guest. And then they're going to come back to you and say, chef, this works great, or chef, we have a few ideas because it's not working to our satisfaction on the line. And then you're going to have to tweak that. So yes, you are the chef, you are in charge of the menu, but you need to have that back and forth with your line cooks, because they're the ones that are actually in the trenches preparing all the meals for the guests. So you have to make sure it works for them. The big thing is on that is, where are you going to put it on the line? Is it going to be underneath on the low boy? Is it going to be in a refrigerator? Where all this product's going to be is another part of that recipe. Evaluating them and then using the recipe. It's very important. So, getting into the conversion factors for a standardized recipe, quality control. So you have your desired servings that you need, and your current servings. So this is your recipe, converting number into servings. So your desired, you need 10, you need 2 is your current serving, and the RCF, or the recipe conversion factor, is 5. So that would mean all the items, the ingredients in that recipe, you would times by 5 to get the desired servings, all right? So converting number of servings and serving size is important. And then you have to know your basics, right? The measures, the gallon, the quart, the pint, the cup, how many quarts, how many ounces, all right? Keep it simple for your staff, all right? Keep it all in ounces, or keep it all in cups, or as low denominator as you can on that recipe, all right? How many tablespoons, how many teaspoons, pounds to ounces, right? How much does an egg weigh? You guys know how much an egg weighs? how much does a regular large egg weigh? 2 ounces. Okay, 2. Extra large usually go about 4. So you think about that when you're doing it. Then you're going into costing measures, grams, pounds. All right. And then the standard recipe costing procedures, the terms are purchased by unit, edible food, edible portion, as purchased. You're going to get as purchased price, right? Edible portion price. Right? So if you get, let's say, let's just go with a chicken, right? You're buying the chicken at, say, $2 a pound. All right, it's a 5-pound chicken. So that chicken will cost you $10, just saying. Expensive chicken, all right? But then you go down into the breast. All you need is that chicken breast. That's gonna be the edible portion. And then you have to figure out the price for that. So as purchased is a whole chicken, right? Edible portion is the chicken breast. As purchased is a beef tenderloin. The edible portion is an 8-ounce fillet, okay? 1 whole salmon, all right, is as purchased. 1 fillet off of that is the edible portion, right? So that's what we have to work on. So with your project part 2, all right, full menu with item descriptions. A lot of you guys have the logo going on. Pricing should look just like a menu handed to a guest. Are you able to do that? Again, you can go on a nice website. I forgot the name of it. Again, Google on it. It'll give you a template. Just look for restaurant menu templates. Free restaurant menu templates. And then look at those and then Google on that, get it, put your items in there, make it all work nice, appetizer, entree, dessert, right? That's what we're looking for. Standardized recipes for appetizer, entree, dessert. Have that on there. And then you can actually do the font size, color size, bold, not bold, and keep that going. With that going forward, when you have all that, remember you just need 1 appetizer, 1 entree, 1 dessert, maybe the same ones that you're using for culinary 110 and 108 for those. And then you got to do a recipe costing for each, right? You have to show the recipe cost, break down each one. All right, estimate the menu price based on, I would say, a 30% of food cost. 25% and 33% is what the PowerPoint is saying. And then try to forecast 1 year's of operation. So you got to figure out, are you open 7 days a week? Are you open 6 days a week? I mean, what are the, I'm trying to get on these PowerPoints for you. Days of the week that you're going to work, or is it open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, just lunch, just breakfast and lunch, just dinner, lunch and dinner, brunch, you know, have to-go orders, takeout orders. Just keep it simple. Keep it simple, guys. Just go lunch and dinner. You're open for lunch and dinner. Sundays off. You can do that if you want. But you got to figure, are you going to open from 11 o'clock to 9 o'clock at night? 11 o'clock in the morning? Or are you going to go from 11 to 2, or open from 11 to 2, and then from 5 to 9? You know, so you have that break in the afternoon. So these are the things that you have to think about, okay? Getting in some more PowerPoints here. Let's see. All right, we're going to get into the chapter 6 one, the restaurant facility. And we've touched on it a little bit right now. But let me go back one. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, we're good. Sorry about the downtime here. There you go. Demographics, where I talked about it before. So pencil and paper, you ready? Demographic, you can get factfinder.census.governor, right? Or government, sorry. Right. Then you can do, like I told you before, I would just Google the town, do a census if you want, but the Census Bureau will have a whole bunch of information for you. There's another one, www.thearda.com, and look at the demographic map. So with that, www.thearda.com demographic map, enter the zip code that's in there. I know that was supposed to be for last week, but if you want to double check that moving forward, we'll be able to do that. So you can add on to your project that you already turned in. I don't have a problem with that. You turn in what you've had already, fine, but you can tweak it because the full grade is not happening to the end, right? Okay. So there's an ingredient, the ingredient list that we have for you comes from US Foods. It's pretty much our inventory that we used. And when you get in there, there's tabs on the bottom. So you have dry goods, spices, dairy, produce, grocery, proteins, seafood, baked goods, the kitchen alcohol, and beverages. All right, so this is a great tool for you, and I highly suggest you use it. All right. Getting into sales and forecasting, this PowerPoint, if you look at it, if you click on it, all the yellows are givens. So all you need to do is, so you're open 7 days a week. We can do that. Closed on Monday. So let's do that with your project. So you're closed on Monday, open Tuesday through Sunday. And if you look at this forecast, all you have to do is add in the number and that'll go all the way through. So you look at the 4s for Sunday, how many appetizers? We only have to do one, okay? And I'll re-clarify this again with you and look at each one, and that'll help you, and it'll help you generate the sales per guest, total guest annually, total sales, right? So if you do this correctly, then we can get out what your total sales will be for the year, okay? Let me go back and see. Boom, 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 boom. All right, so week 2, sales forecasting a worksheet, okay? Sales forecasting worksheet. Click on that and it comes up with all this. So it'll take forever for these guys. Let me get into PowerPoints 6. All right. Clicking over away, clicking all the way, clicking all the way. There we go. Back, pay for it. All right, so we're gonna get into the restaurant facility. And this is what I like to do. I like designing stuff. So with your restaurant layout, you're gonna think about your restaurant layout and design. This is part of your project too, right? So, and the first things first that you already did, which is important, and I mentioned it before, that you need to have your menu already set. So now you know how to lay out your restaurant. All right, so with that restaurant, a lot of people are involved in it. The owner's involved, the chef's involved, architects, the management team, designers, and builders. All right, so I've done a lot of this, And it really takes a team effort to make it correct. And then you're not even gonna get it right because you're gonna have lots of changes on your floor plans down the road. So I've done a lot of doodling on cocktail napkins when I'm at restaurants, and I look at great ideas and situations. You know, they have is an open kitchen, or is it a closed kitchen? You know, do they have the wood burning grills? Do you have the bank of just woks, you know, for the Asian cuisine? It's very important that you have this down. So lay out the factors. How about the guest? Is it easy for the guest to come in? Is it easy for your employees to come in? Is it easy for the restaurant managers and chefs to work the area? So it's very important. You have to get into, again, you have your menu, then you have to figure out how we're going to receive this. Is it coming through the back door? Or you have to bring everything through the front door because you don't have, you know, it's a very closed in space. Like talk about big cities, everything is done through the front and they have basements and they send everything down into the basement. It's multi-layered and floored. So receiving and storage is huge. You got to figure that one out. How are they going to prep everything? You know, how are you going to prep vegetables? How are you going to prep proteins? You know, do you have different areas? How many sinks you're going to have? Pot and pan dishwashing, that's huge. You're going to have like a corner unit, just a corner, one rack, Ecolab dishwasher, or you need a big conveyor one, which I doubt that you're going to need. You need a 3-compartment sink, but you also need prep sinks. You also need hand washing sinks, right? More the better for hand washing sinks. Where are you going to put the garbage cans at? You know, they all have to have a station. You know, where's the pantry line at? What's the cook line going to be? How about the server pickup? How are you going to do server pickup? Is it going to be right off the line? Or is it going to be a window to the side? Right? So, again, on the Google, look out for restaurant layout and design. So restaurant kitchen layout and design Google, and they'll come out with a whole bunch of floor plans for you. All right. There are some websites that you tell them that you're a student, you clock in, you say you're a student, and they will give you the rights to use their website for like a week. I think it might be a week, and you can use that website for a week, and hopefully they'll get you hooked in there and you can use it for your future programs. But again, Google on restaurant kitchen layout and design, and you'll find a whole bunch of neat stuff in that. All right. How about your bar? You got to figure out where you're going to have a bar, beer and wine. No bar, that's fine. You know, but you still have to have a server side station where they're going to get their sodas, where they're going to get the bottled water, all that, where it's tea, coffee, all that. So to lay out the basics, step 1, consider the functional areas, design specific workstations, integrate workstations into functional areas. I mean, if you're closed, can you use the hot line to prep? And then when you're open, it's the hot line, and they have a little bit prep area in the back. So there's different ways of working it and making it very efficient. When you're looking at those restaurant kitchen layout designs, take a look at Asian restaurants over in Japan and Korea, and look at European designs. They're very, very intricate and compact. You know, everything is compact, very important. All right. You know, have to make final layout decisions, get everybody involved. Yes, you might be the owner. Yes, you're the chef and the owner, but you're not working that station 100%. You're going to have other employees working it, so you need their input. Okay, and please go around to other restaurants. Go and knock on their door and say, hey, I'm the new guy in town, getting ready to build. Can I take a look at your kitchen? Some people slam the door in your face. Other people say, yeah, come on in, welcome to the neighborhood, and look around, okay? Even right now, all right, right now, you can go and say, hey, I'm a student at Helms College, I'm doing a menus and facilities class. Is there any way I can go out and can I take a look in your kitchen? I'm trying to design this menu, maybe have a copy of your menu for you, and stop by and say hello to one of the restaurants. All right, so now that we're getting ready to open up, thank you, Governor Kemp. All right, so exterior designs. Parking, huge, all right? Do you have a parking lot? Are you a standalone restaurant with a parking lot? Or are you in a strip mall? All right, are you in a strip mall with other businesses and you share a parking lot? So where are your employees gonna park? They can park right in front, or they have to park across the street? Or I remember the days when I was working at Disney, right? You had to park in the parking lot, and then you had to walk through, and then you had to get on a bus. First you go through, and what was the name of that word that I put in there? Well, you get on the bus, and then the bus takes you to the restaurant. So, and same with Universal and Epcot and all those guys, like the St. SeaWorld. And there's employee parking, you take a bus, and they bus you in. Well, for you guys, if all your employees are using your parking spaces, there's not going to be a whole bunch of parking for your guest. So, so make sure you have an area for your parking, for your employee parking. Groundskeeping, landscaping, you know, how you're going to do that. It's totally up to you how you want to design that. But if you're up north, you got to worry about winter and snow removal and all that. And when you're down south, you have to worry about hurricanes. Are you going to put hurricane shutters up? You know, it's tough. You know, so it's something you got to think about. Those deals. Parking is a big one. Well lit. Got to make sure it's well lit. So your restaurant equipment, based off your menu, all right, you can get equipment that's already measured out, easy to put in, refrigeration, tables, everything's done. You just need to have the space measured out and find out how much square footage you have, and then you can add all these things in there. Or like at Pinnacle Club, we had to have specially made stainless steel tables done for the restaurant and the kitchen. And that was in 1967 when they first built it. And then we took it out over a year ago because it was a dinosaur. You didn't really need them anymore. And it took away from a lot of other areas. So stock equipment, custom equipment. What's going to cost more? Custom equipment. What else can you do for equipment? So equipment-wise, the lower cost for stock equipment, immediately available. You can order it through Cisco, US Foods, and they'll deliver it. You know, refrigeration, you know, all your cooking equipment that you need. They have it and they're ready to go. All right, so that's a good thing about it. But you can also go to a restaurant discount, because there's a lot of restaurants that are going out of business too, and you can buy their used equipment and clean it up really nice, and then you have a great piece of equipment that's used for half the price. So, so the custom equipment, higher cost, lesser availability, but a better operational fit. It'll actually fit in that corner. It'll actually fit that side wall. All right, and so think about that, custom equipment. So how you purchase it, you got to make sure functionality, capacity, the cost, design appearance, dimensions, safety, flexibility. All right, that's a whole bunch of words right there, but it's really important. Oh, and there's other things that are out there. They're called food shows. Go to a food show. The big one is in Chicago every year. I mean, not this year, but the big one's in Chicago, and it's a National Restaurant Association food show. It's, I mean, years ago, it used to be like 12 miles of exhibits. Now I think they broke it down to like maybe 6, you know, but you go up there, spend the weekend up there, you look at all the cost, you can look at all your plateware, your silverware, all that can be right there for you. People will help design floor plans for you, your tables, your chairs, carpet. I mean, there's a Southeastern food show. There's one in Florida and Orlando every year. There's one out in California. I mean, there's a whole bunch of food shows like that, but the big one, there's 2 big ones that I go to, is the one in Chicago and the one in Orlando, Florida. Right? So when I do my competitions, cooking competitions, I go to Orlando, and when I'm doing just major equipment-wise, I go up to Chicago because they have more to do with. All right, so you have to think about food prep equipment, cooking equipment, serving equipment, refrigeration, cleaning, right? Where's your mop sink gonna be? Where's your mop buckets? Where are you gonna hang up your brooms? Where are you gonna hang your mops at? Where are you gonna hang your squeegees at? Where are all the chemicals going? That's gotta be separate. It can't be mixed with your food. So you have to find areas of that on your layout. All right. So do you have drive-through services? Do you have carry-out food services? So carry-out, you have to spend a little bit more money on paper goods, right? So everything is going out and hopefully in paper, not plastic, but you got to do what you got to do. So drive-through services, a little bit more intense. Drive-through lane zone, parking lot designs, entrance, exits. That's a huge one. Carry-out. Carry-out's a big one, very common. You can get a lot of money of people just coming in and taking it to go, right? We all do it. We all get to go food, correct? So I'm not a big fan of having those guys, Goober or whatever it is, to come over, Grubhub, and deliver my food. I'd rather just go out and buy it and bring it back, right? Except for pizza delivery. So carry-out food service is very important. It's a good selling point. Or will the orders be received by telephone, email, on the website? You know, that's a big one too. So you have to get the technical side into that. Let's see what the other one is. So designing the restaurants for takeout food service. Is it a warm weather location? A lot of them are. I just feel bad for the Chick-fil-A ladies and guys that are outside, you know, when it's really cold and they're taking your order outside. I'm like, wow, that's, even though they got the heaters and all that, that's gotta be tough, you know. So, so backing this up with your equipment. So common food service equipment is, right, there's 5 categories. Food preparation equipment, like walk-ins, all right, coolers, all that, tabletops. Then you have cooking equipment, stoves. Is it going to be gas or electric? I think electric is great. I love my induction burners at the Pinnacle Club. So think about that. Is it going to do electric and induction? And that, all right, it's less heat in the kitchen, because then you have to put a ventilation system up too, right? All the vents, all right? So you have all your cooking equipment that you're gonna need based off of your menu, then all your serving equipment, right? You're gonna need a whole bunch of just stuff for the front of the house, tables, chairs, booths, banquettes. Then you're gonna have to talk about all your silverware and glassware and plateware. How about sheet pans? Ooh, we haven't talked about that. And part of the prep, sheet pans, hotel pans, inserts, speed racks, then metro shelving, so much. Refrigeration equipment, like we said, we had walk-ins. Is it one big walk-in? And then you walk through the walk-in and the freezer's in the back end part, or do you need a whole freezer and a whole walk-in? Where are you gonna store your beer? How much keg beer are you using? You know, think about all these bars that you've gone to, the pubs, the Irish pub that you're going to, and you have draft beer, but you have 10 different drafts. You're gonna have a whole draft system just lined up for that, right? So is it gonna be in a walk-in in the back with a draft beer? Is it gonna be right there in a big kegerator? Or my dream restaurant, it was right underneath. So I had a basement where I did some of the prep and a lot of storage, and my refrigeration was down there for the beer, you know? So, and it just went straight up, right up to the next level, and that's where your beer was at. So, I mean, that's a big thing, refrigeration, and we just talked about the cleaning, you know, cleaning the mop buckets, push carts, you know, all kind. Where's your dumpster at? Trash cans, big things, man. It's opening a restaurant is a big deal, and then you got to remember the function of this equipment, the capacity of this equipment, the design and the appearance of the equipment, the size dimensions, the safety and sanitation of each. Some of these things have some really sharp edges to it. So, oh man, I can feel it now. Getting cut with these really sharp stainless steel tables. They're starting to fix those and they blunt them a little bit, but in the early days, whoo, you can cut your fingers really bad. And the flexibility. Do you have rolling tables that you can move to different stations? You know, what kind of cutting boards you're going to be using? Knives, are you going to provide knives for your staff, or are you going to tell them to bring it in? Lockers, are you going to provide lockers for your staff? You know, all these little things are part of the equipment purchase of the restaurant. All right. So with that, we'll end this day, and we'll get into it next time. But any questions, please email me. You guys are doing good. Keep up with your assignments. Keep up with the projects. All right, very important. That's how I tell, you know, if you're listening via the web here, or, you know, I can count all your clicks on the computer. So please keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great. And any questions that you have, let me know. All right, see you next time.